Hello and welcome to Sync and Flow, the podcast with me, your host, Josie Thorne. I am a Red Tent Women's Circle facilitator, a womb healer, and feminine empowerment coach. I have been guiding women to embody their true essence through womb activations and feminine embodiment practices. I started Sync and Flow to help educate and connect women back to the wisdom of their sacred womb space and cyclical nature. I want to help all women reawaken to the true power of the feminine that lives deep within them, so that they may cultivate a relationship to self that is rooted in pure trust, divine love, and a deeply intuitive connection to the body. Thank you for being here and taking the time to listen to this podcast episode. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sync and Flow, the podcast with me, your host, Josie Thorne. This is episode 18, and this is the first podcast that I am recording in 2024. So, Happy New Year, everyone. Today is Sunday, the 7th of January, 5:49 p.m. And unfortunately, this is the second time I am recording this podcast. The first time the sound didn't seem to record, so I just wasted 38 minutes of my life. And even though I went on a few tangents, there was some really juicy content in there for you guys, so I'm going to keep this short, but try to deliver as much as possible. I firstly just want to take the time to thank everyone who is a regular listener of the podcast. We are close to hitting 20 episodes, and I just want to thank everyone who's taken the time to engage with the podcast. We had massive growth and success in the podcast in 2023. I had our first guests on, and we had many amazing, thought-provoking, controversial, and boundary-breaking discussions that really sparked so much creativity and inspiration within me, and have just fueled me to want to create more podcast episodes for you guys and create them more regularly. I know I haven't always been very regular with the upload schedule, so I want to thank you all for your patience, and thank you for being here. I today want to just welcome you to the new year. How are we all doing? How are we all feeling? I hope that we have all taken some time over this festive and new year period to just slow down a little bit and remember who we are, and take the time to just prioritize our well-being, prioritize our rest, prioritize spending time with our family and loved ones, and just taking stock of everything that went down in 2023, everything that happened, everything that changed, that shifted, that transformed. Whether that be in your career, changing jobs, or relationships beginning or ending. 2023 was a really big year for me personally, and also for the world at large. We are really in a very difficult time in modern times. I mean, since COVID 2020, which is already 4 years ago now, which is crazy. The world has been a really crazy place. I mean, it's always been a crazy place. I think just since COVID, things have become a lot more crazy on the surface. So, whereas previously they were always crazy in a more subtle way, and now things have become a lot more explicit. And yeah, there are, I mean, definitely over the last few years, what has happened and taken place in the world has definitely made me realize that evil is very much real, and the forces of good and evil in on the planet are definitely out of balance right now. And that is why we are seeing this massive, quote unquote, awakening in human collective psyche, because that is what's needed. The social and structural, cultural, societal norms have really fucked us all up, have fucked up the world, have fucked up, the entire natural order of life through all of these man made systems and projections and hierarchies. And really, it comes down to domination tactics and control mechanisms. And in the form that these take place, it's many, many manifestations, whether we look at government, whether we look at the environment, whether we look at, the binaries between men and women and the balance between all of life. There are so many controversial topics that are coming up these days, whether it's the trans agenda, whether it's the war in Israel versus Palestine, which I personally believe is not a war but a genocide. All these different oppressive forces, the medical industrial complex, and the way, the government is trying to have more and more control over the individual and the individual's lives and decisions, all of these things. They're not conspiracy theories anymore. They are reality. It's not fiction anymore. It's not just in sci-fi movies and novels. It's reality. And so the reality can be a pretty scary place when you are awake and aware. And so that's why it is more important than ever before for us to call in our soul tribe and gather in community of like-hearted people. Thank you, Alexia Usgard, for that one. I always used to say like-minded, and then this babe taught me the power of flipping it to like-hearted people. And I really love this saying, because we don't all have to be like-minded. We don't all need to think the same way in order for us to coexist and have heaven on earth. That is not what we need. We need people who are coming from opposing viewpoints to approach the situation not from a dominating, rationalized headspace, but from a loving, forgiving, empathetic, compassionate heart space where we are willing to listen and learn and receive the viewpoint of the other with love and compassion and grace, no matter how polarizing it is to the viewpoints and beliefs of our own makeup. So, yeah, astrologists have been predicting the years of 2020 to 2024, this period of 5 years, 4 years, for a very long time, because we've also seen the way that the astrology and the astrogeography of the planets is also reflecting this drive for and push for increasing consciousness in our society and in our world today. And this is happening through the driver of Pluto and the movement of Pluto, which is in its final degrees of Capricorn, which is very much the sign of the patriarchy, the masculine structure, hierarchy, power, monarchy, all of these very rigid patriarchal structures. And Pluto in Capricorn is now coming out of this aspect, and Pluto is now moving into Aquarius, and this is this whole age of Aquarius, the dawn of Aquarius energy, this drive, right, that we are moving into, where we are becoming a lot more higher vibrational. We are moving from a lot of density in our past as a human collective, a lot of war, a lot of rational hard science, you got to see it to believe it, kind of factual proof based, very masculine, hard rationality, mind space thinking, if that makes sense. And we're moving away from that and into a more technologically driven age where, the mind is becoming more fluid, less tangible, we're becoming more spiritual, we're becoming more light, less dense, higher vibrational ways of thinking and being and living and acting and speaking. So yeah, there's a really big push on a global and also cosmic level for the human race to collectively ascend and move to a higher timeline. And a lot of people also speak about the split that is going to happen, where many people are going to, ascend and go into this higher timeline, and then there's going to be the people that stay behind holding this negative past denser timeline. And I don't really see it like this, because we're all one, right? We are all one. Every human is connected to every single human. We are all one family, one human race, and collectively we need to all ascend. And so yeah, we are only as fast as our slowest walker. And so really, I see this as a no one gets left behind kind of mentality, where no matter how many times people laugh at me, no matter how many times people call me crazy, no matter how many times people look at my witch's brew weeds, shout out Wild Nettle, my infusions, and tell me they look, disgusting or smell weird or whatever, thanks, shout out to my family, I'm still gonna keep on telling people all the amazing benefits for your health and for your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health of drinking weeds, because these are the new patterns and new lifestyle choices that have literally changed my life. I'm never gonna stop talking about womb healing, because healing my womb has changed my life, has changed the way I relate to my period, has changed the way I have sex, has changed the experience of my own pleasure and my own power and my own orgasm, like all of these life-changing experiences that have happened to me because I've been brave enough to do the deep, dark, hard, dirty work, be brave enough to go to therapy, be brave enough to step outside my comfort zone and constantly have a growth mindset. I'm never going to stop wanting to share these practices and tips and tricks with you guys, because this is what, the Age of Aquarius is all about. It is about becoming our own gurus, becoming our own healers, becoming the expert of our own lives. Become the expert of your own body. Become the expert of your own mind. There is no more time for you to wait around for someone else to tell you what is wrong with you. There's no more time for you to wait around for someone to give you a magic pill that is going to fix your physical, your mental, your emotional, or your spiritual problems. There's no more time for us to give away our power like this. Okay, it is 2024 and we are taking full responsibility for all that we are and for all that we have created in our life thus far. I don't want to hear any more excuses. If you are unhappy, do something about it. If you are unfulfilled, do something about it. If you are not making enough money, do something about it. If you are not experiencing life-changing orgasms, do something about it, babe. Don't be so nonchalant in your own experience of yourself and your life. Don't be so apathetic. Take charge. You are in the driver's seat of your own life. Don't wait for things to get bad and then get worse before you make a change, because that process of degradation, that is a one-way spiral to depression, that process doesn't happen overnight. That process happens over a long, slow period of time. And if you can catch yourself before you hit the bottom, you can change the course of your life and take action, take aligned action, and manifest yourself onto a different path. Manifest a new timeline, manifest a higher timeline for you to step into, where you are appreciated, where you are being paid what you deserve, where you are in the most beautiful, intimate, life-changing relationship, where you are experiencing the most otherworldly, life-changing orgasms, whatever it is, whether it's your personal life, your relationship, your sex life, your career, whatever category of life it is, you can make the change. But first, you need to check in with yourself and ask yourself, what part of me is comfortably attached to my current reality? So I'm going to repeat this again. Ask yourself, what part of me is too comfortably attached to my current reality in order to change? In other words, what part of yourself is resisting change because that part of yourself is too comfortable, because that part of yourself is too settled, is too domesticated, is too understimulated? That part of you has become lazy. That part of you has become apathetic. That part of you has lost your creative fire. That part of you has lost the creative passion and the creative fire for life. And I'm reading this beautiful book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. This is literally the Bible for women's work in the world, for understanding the collective feminine tropes and the ways that these manifest in the collective psyche. Highly recommend. It is fucking thick, and I've been reading it for about 2 years, but it is highly worth it. And yeah, they talk a lot in this book about how the tendency of women to settle, and the tendency of women to settle for a bland, understimulating life, because she has not been taught how to cultivate the skills of the wild woman. She has not been taught how to light her own creative fire, which burns in the womb. She is numbed out. The modern woman is burnt out. She's numbed out. She's burnt out from subscribing to hustle culture and not living in alignment with her menstrual cycle. She's not cyclically living. She's numbed out sexually because she's experienced either sexual trauma, which creates disassociation between the mind and the genitals, or she's on hormonal birth control like the pill, the patch, the injection, or the IUDs such as the Kyalina or Mirena, and she's numbed out because her menstrual cycle has been pretty much deleted from her body. She no longer cycles, she no longer is in the natural flow and ebb and flow of her life. She no longer experiences the mystical feminine power that is the menstrual cycle. She no longer experiences this thirst for life, this lust for life. She no longer has a libido. Okay, this is another podcast episode I'm going to be making in the future about how birth control fucks up your body as a woman. I have a free workshop on my YouTube channel, on the Sink and Flow YouTube channel. We have a playlist called Free Workshops, and there is a free 2-hour masterclass called Love My Flow, and you can watch that, in which I go into detail about how hormonal birth control impacts our physiology, our biology, and the knock-on effect this has in our emotional and spiritual and mental health and physical health, because there are a lot of physical side effects that most women are unaware of or choose to actually ignore because they would rather stay numb and stay blind and stay silent and stay stuck in their comfortable little life. So a big part of my work is really as a crazy modern day witch. Part of my work here in this world is to be unapologetic and to be a disruptor and to be a fire starter. And one of the ways that I do that is with this podcast, by having these controversial conversations, by talking about taboo topics, by, giving you guys the information that you need in order to make informed decisions about your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. Really, this podcast is also a tribute to my younger self, because the information that I share in this podcast is really information that I needed as a teenager. Information that really could have saved me a lot of trouble, trauma, disassociation, and negative toxic behavior. And so really, I give you guys this information to help you liberate yourself. Like I was saying earlier, the age of the Aquarius is all about you becoming your own healer and you not waiting around for a guru to enlighten you, or a guru or a healer to fix you, awaken you, heal you. It's about taking full responsibility for the state of your mind, body, and soul, and also taking full responsibility that the only person inevitably that can heal you is yourself. And so being your own healer is becoming your own biggest and best healer, becoming your own biggest and best supporter, system of validation, and your own expert of your life and of your body and of your well-being. This is how we take our power back, because we no longer, when we become the expert, we no longer are influenced by the social dynamics and culture that surrounds us. We're no longer influenced by doctors, therapists, healers, government, teachers, parents, guardians. I mean, we are influenced by them in a positive way, but anything that is negative that may hinder our growth, we just discard. The Age of Aquarius is a lot about learning and about expanding and learning in new ways. It's a lot about innovation. It's a lot about intelligence. It's a lot about using the mind, but in a more psychic, spiritual, powerful way than we we have ever used the mind before. It is about knowing that you create your reality. Your reality is your self pushed out, meaning that your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality. Whatever is going on inside your body, within your subconscious, because your body is the vehicle of the subconscious. And did you know we operate every single day on a daily basis? 95% of our actions, our beliefs, our thoughts, they all come from the subconscious. And so if your subconscious is still holding anger, repressed emotion, trauma, resentment, rage, grief, if you are still holding these things, then your life is going to reflect this, because basically your subconscious will magnetize beliefs that are in a line with your inner beliefs. Your subconscious will magnetize experiences and manifestations in the external 3D world that match your internal beliefs and your internal makeup. And it does this to show you and reflect to you what is going on within you. And so if you are experiencing negative manifestations in your external life, how can you use these experiences, as tools to dig deeper into your self-healing journey and your self-development journey? If you are unhappy with something, make a change. If you are lacking a skill, and the skill can be anything. The skill can be from as simple as maybe you don't know how to cook. Maybe you never grew up in a family where home cooking was a thing and your mom or whoever just bought you takeaways all the time or ready cooked meals from the shops, and no one taught you at the basic level why it is important to learn to cook as a act of self-love and self-care, and an act of health, an act of looking after yourself and prioritizing your health, right? If no one taught you that, and you don't know how to cook, and you don't feel confident in the kitchen, then do something about it. Ask a friend to teach you how to cook. Ask a parent, a guardian, ask someone in your life to teach you how to cook. Look it up on YouTube. Reach out to someone. Do a cooking course. Go to a cooking school. There are so many different things you can do. This is just a simple example. I mean, another more complex one is maybe you struggle to achieve orgasm with a partner. All right. Many women experience this. They are able to orgasm on their own, but then in partnership, in partnered sex, they struggle to orgasm. Babe, like, how are you robbing yourself of this experience? Like, why have you not, seeked support and help with this issue? Okay, yes, maybe you still hold some shame and guilt around the fact that you may not be able to orgasm. Okay. But there are literally people out there in the world, such as myself, who are coaches and can help you with these things. This is why I do the work that I do, because I want to help women to achieve liberation within their mind, body, and soul. And that includes helping them to liberate their pussies, liberate their wombs, so that they can experience life-changing, mind-blowing pleasure and orgasms that literally send you all the way to God, okay? That fuck you all the way open, that bring you your greatest sense of power and pleasure. Don't rob yourself of this experience. And so this is the year that I want to encourage you to get outside of your comfort zone, okay? Try new things. Go attend different experiences, whether it's travel, whether it's going to a women's circle, whether it's joining a new community, trying a new sport, going to a new gym. I just started going to the gym for the first time in like 6 years, maybe 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. I don't know how long it's been. But I just joined a new gym, a new boutique gym, and I'm loving it so much. I never thought of myself as a gym girly, but now I am, and I love it so much, and I'm enjoying so much getting strong and working on my body and feeling proud of what I see in the mirror. really, it's time to take all of that love and energy and effort that you so willingly put into your career and your relationships and your friendships and in experiences outside of yourself. And it's time to start to call some of this back to you. Call back your power, call back your energy, harness it, hone it, bring it back to the center. Bring all that mental energy into the heart space. Bring up all that desire into the heart space. We want to be operating not from the mind and all this over rationalizing, overthinking, what to do, where to be, many, many questions. But we also don't want to be stuck in the body of, I feel too much, I desire this, I lust after that, overly controlled by our desires. We want to be somewhere in the middle. We want to be balanced within the heart space where we can rationally and objectively perceive our desires and feel into them at the same time, but also not attached to them. So the energy of the higher heart is all about loving, wanting without attachment. And this is also what allows us to be in the energy of receiving, okay? If you cannot be in the energy of the receiver, how are you ever going to manifest your desires? If you cannot be the energy of the receiver and you are in a feminine body with a womb, you are never going to be able to experience orgasm in partnership, because the feminine body operates through the energy of receptivity, of submissiveness, of gentleness, of softness. And this is why it is so important for us to instill the masculine structure of discipline, routine, and structure into our personal and professional lives, of boundaries in our relationships and boundaries with ourself and our self-control. It's so important to instill these masculine attributes so that our inner feminine nature can come out to play. And here she brings the passion, the creativity, the wild, the free-spirited, the new, the change, the excitement, the fire. Okay? And so only when we have this masculine safety structure, plan, goal, intention, purpose, can we then shoot off into the distance and step outside our comfort zone and try new things and go for gold by chasing after our desires, by traveling, by going to new places, meeting new people, not being afraid to go out alone, go try new things, travel alone, go to festivals alone, go partying alone. Like, honestly, that's been one of the funnest and biggest breakthroughs for me in 2023, was learning to become self-sufficient and independent again after being in relationship for 5 years. And it's been such a beautiful journey for me to rediscover, who am I when I am not in partnership? Who am I as a single being, as a single entity? And it's beautiful. I was chatting about this with a friend the other day. It's so beautiful how in this healing journey we start off as codependents, and we get into these toxic dynamics, which are unintentional consequences of, our childhood and the attachment styles that we grew up in and the type of parenting that we received. And yeah, really just our unhealed trauma. And then we move from codependent to the other side of the spectrum where we are independent. And here we know we can do it. We have all the self-belief. We know we can do it all on our own. We don't need external validation. We are empowered in our own sense of self. Whereas previously we had been too enmeshed with the other, too codependent to be empowered in our sense of self. And then as we start to heal and grow more and learn about, our own attachment styles, how do we keep ourselves safe, setting boundaries, etc., we start to come more into the middle. And this is more of this heart-centered awareness where we realize that, okay, I don't want to be codependent, but I also don't want to be independent, because being independent is actually a little bit isolating and lonely, and it's not always so in alignment with our growth. And so we come into more centered awareness where we realize the power of interdependence. So we're not codependent, we're not independent, but we're interdependent. And this means that we exist within community. We operate within a communal space where we know that we can ask for help, we can reach out to others, we can rely on other people to guide us when we feel lost, help us when we feel stuck, give us support, give us advice, be a safety net for our own struggles, our traumas, our challenges, and really help us along our journey. One of my favorite Ram Dass quotes says, "We are all just walking each other home." And again, this you are your own healer energy, because this quote just goes to show that no one is better than the next. Just because I've been on this journey longer doesn't mean that I am more advanced or more spiritual or more enlightened or more awakened than you are. No, I see myself on equal level as you. We all have our own unique gifts to bring to the table. We all come with our baggage. We all come with our gifts. We all come with our strengths and weaknesses. And it's just about negotiating these strengths and weaknesses within community so that we can balance each other out and really just help each other out along our different journeys, and see how our journeys come together, and maybe they stay together for a few years and then they part ways again, and then maybe they come back together again, or maybe they never meet again. And as painful as it is for the human experience, we have to be in deep surrender to the path of our own life. We have to be in deep surrender that sometimes people will come in and sometimes they will go, and sometimes they will never return. Sometimes they may return, who knows? But we cannot predict the future. There are infinite timelines, which mean that there are infinite possibilities, which means that there's also infinite potential. And that is exciting, and that is something to look forward to rather than feel overwhelmed by. That is something to feel like, wow, I am really the creator of my own reality. I really have the power. It is really up to me. It is all about the choices that I make on a day-to-day level. What are the choices that I make? What is the mindset that I am waking up with? How am I taking care of myself? How am I taking care of others? And how am I managing my own energy in a way that will ultimately long term be beneficial to myself and to the rest of my community? Because when we heal ourselves and when we work on ourselves, this has a unquantifiable ripple effect on the rest of the collective, on the rest of humanity, on the rest of our community, whether that community be housemates, family, friends, a partnership, a family, whatever. So really it's about taking that power back, the power of choice, the power of agency, and using this creative life force power that you have to make change in your own life that is going to benefit the lives of everyone else, because we are one, and all for one, one for all. And we need to start having this unity mindset. We need to stop focusing on our hyper individualism, which is a massive symptom and side effect of our current capitalistic patriarchal paradigm. The future is healing in community. The future is healing in relationship. The future is healing together, showing each other our wounds, bearing our souls, being vulnerable, inviting more of us to take off the armor that we carry around our hearts, so that we can leave the armor and the protection and the shields at the door and walk into the room more vulnerable, more open, more honest, more in touch with our humanity, in touch with our power and with our love. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. This was a beautiful introductory episode. It definitely went down many different tangents that I wasn't expecting, but that is also the beauty of the creative process, and I am here to let go and surrender to the creative process and surrender to my own channel and what wants to be brought forward to you guys in this episode and each one to come. So thank you for your love, for your support, for your patience. If you've reached this far in the episode, thank you so much. I love you and I appreciate you. Wherever in the world you may be, please don't forget to rate and review. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment, and if you have any questions or comments, as always, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Josie_Thorn. And yeah, thank you so much. I will see you in the next episode. Mwah. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode and engage with all the wisdom that was shared. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice, as this really helps this wisdom reach new people. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to reach out to me via Instagram DM or send me an email. You can follow me on my personal account on Instagram at Josie, Josie_Thorn, THORNE, or you can follow Sync and Flow, my business accounts, at Sync, that's spelled SYNC_in_flow. Please feel free to reach out with any questions or queries you may have. Otherwise, get in contact to book a free discovery call to start your self-healing spiritual journey today. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now, loves.